award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
It sure is.
Somebody gunning for Cinema Classic status is the well-appointed eyebrow...
not eyebrow challenge for sure.
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
Yeah, good guy. He is a classic story of a guy who was, when he did, he actually took the role for, that Heath Ledger was supposed to take in Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
And it had been a low point in his career. A stupid movie.
They should have let Heath Ledger have it.
Oh, he should definitely have. But anyway, here's a guy who was a classic Hollywood bad boy, and suddenly realized that he was going nowhere artistically.
Well, yeah, you know, it's so hard, right? When there's these, you get the impression sometimes Hollywood wants to force stardom on somebody. You know, they pick somebody.
Yep.
And then they just give them all the great parts. They give them chance after chance. You know, and I remember Colin Farrell I remember him playing the bad guy in Minority Report opposite Tom Cruise.
Right.
Which he wasn't bad in. He was good. I remember him playing the bad guy in Daredevil opposite Ben Affleck.
Yes.
That was a big mistake. That was a flop.
How about Crazy Heart?
And then, well, I don't know. Hold on. I would say that that's when he earned his stripes, right? And he starts getting the leads, like in Alexander and SWAT and all these dopey movies. And before you know it, nobody cares. You know, you only get about 5 chances, if that, in Hollywood to make a starring role pay off in a hit. Mm-hmm. And it never happened for him. Now he does this interesting movie called In Bruges.
Oh,
right.
One of my favorites.
Is that how you say it?
In Bruges would
Bruges.
Be. Yeah.
Let me say that again so that I go on the radio and I sound like a moron.
Yeah.
He did this little movie called In Bruges.
Yeah, with Brendan Gleeson.
A little Irish gangster movie.
Oh, just wonderful. A little bit like The Third Man, some other European kind of detective, but in this case they're hitmen waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just...
And so with this movie, he begins a small but calculated and effective career rehabilitation.
And then he gets just a couple of years ago, he gets into with Yanthos Lanthimos. I have no idea.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yes, with Yorgos Lanthimos, director, calling him up and asking him to play in this really bizarre movie called The Lobster.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's forever thankful for him because that set him up now for these kind of indie, low-level, interesting roles.
Yeah.
But he told his co-star in The Lobster that this was the most boring thing he'd ever done because his character is boring.
Yeah, right.
But it starts him on his way that is less spectacular as a movie star, but more substantial as an actor.
But I also think, you know, he's just a mistake as a movie star. I don't think, you know, sometimes an actor or actress, you know, gets these chances. The audience responds to them. It keeps driving them. The audience finds them. I don't think people have ever cared about Colin Farrell. I don't think audiences really respond to him. I think in some ways, apart from those eyebrows of his, he is a blandly generic, handsome leading man.
Yeah,
and,
interesting.
You know, there's not a whole lot he does outside of really, you know, working those caterpillars of his.
Yeah, you know, you have an interesting point. I'm thinking now about all from Montgomery Clift through Daniel Day-Lewis and trying to understand actors. And Colin Farrell is now making his mark doing roles that don't require a great deal of acting ability. They require him to be monotone, straight, looks like he's got a lot going on but doesn't. But that's a great point. I think his being Irish and carrying that with him all the time, is having these exceptional looks, unusual looks, and having a feistiness about him get him there, but he's not James Dean.
Yeah. Right. And and all that bad boy stuff that he used to do, like, it just came off as annoying.
It did, and he was,
it wasn't like Brando, or where it was sort of fascinating to watch this guy like act this way, or I mean publicly.
Yes.
It wasn't. It was just came off as petulant. Oh, I'm a tattooed smoking guy. Who cares?
Well, now as we ordinarily do, I try to come in here with his favorites.
Okay.
And first of all, I think the most influential star who hooked up with Colin Farrell was Al Pacino. When he was in a film with Pacino,
Yeah, it was called SWAT. It was terrible,
he said,
right?
he said,
Or no, the Rookie, or I don't know what the hell it was.
The Recruit,
The Recruit.
right?
Yeah.
When he
That's
was
how memorable it was.
when he was with him, he said he had almost from birth wanted to act with him. Then he was acting with him. He said he was the kindest man he ever knew, and they have remained buds.
Okay.
So he has the list of actors he admires.
Okay.
Then after that, Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, Clint Eastwood, James Caan, and Marlon Brando.
That's a nice list.
It's a nice list. He's not any one of those.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's not any one of them.
Oh, God.
No, that does. I mean, he's got good taste, but that's what movies do, though. The movie camera lays bare your face's weaknesses, and sometimes that makes for a great star. If you think about it, the great movie stars you can't take your eyes off of, there's something going on there. They're not perfect looking. They're not bland in any way.
Yeah, jumping to my mind is Robert Mitchum.
Yeah,
There's
Robert
a guy who's
Mitchum.
got a lot going on.
Interesting face, right? You can't quite figure out what's happening. Is it melting?
Yes.
What's going? Is he falling asleep as we're watching? But you know what I mean? Because it's the imperfections that get lodged in your memory, and your psyche, right? That
Sure.
brings you back. And just sometimes it's a combination. There's a formula: face, voice, mannerisms, technique. If it comes together in something memorable, you are a movie star. You will go see that person by virtue of the fact that they're in something.
Let me toss
Very
this
few
in.
people are going to see a Colin Farrell movie because he's in it.
Yeah. You would see a movie because Paul Newman was in it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you wouldn't be surprised that his wristwatch recently went for $18 million at auction.
Yeah, well, those are more watch freaks than
I know,
Newman freaks.
but the fact that he owned it.
Yeah, it helps. But
I know it does. Colin Farrell has two tattoos, one on each arm. One is Carpe Diem, and the other is a black cross. So does
Heavy.
that does that tell you where this guy is?
Yeah, he's a bad boy from the 90s.
Anyway,
No, I mean, look, if the guy continues to do good work, that's what you want. But like a guy like Paul Newman, I mean, how many characters can you say he etched? Fast Eddie Felson, HUD, Butch Cassidy.
Sure.
Like, these are indelible.
Yeah. The good reason that Colin Farrell has been doing besides The Lobster is the killing of a sacred deer. And he plays a surgeon, a strange surgeon in a strange family with a strange circumstance.
Yeah.
So all of that strangeness is helping him out because he is playing it pretty flat.
Right. And it turns out that at this stage in his career, he is De Niro to Yorgos Lanthimos' Scorsese.
I think we ought to land with that.